Every so often a mod releases that completely revolutionizes Skyrim in one way or another. This time around we have EVG Animated Traversal, a framework mod that enhances the way you navigate the game and provides new opportunities in level design for mod authors that have never been possible until now. EVG Animated Traversal is a framework that adds animation prompts for the player to climb ledges, squeeze in tight spaces, vault over walls, climb ladders, and much more. The reason this mod is so revolutionary is because it enables the player to navigate and physically interact with the world in a way that has never been possible. It's also extremely easy for mod authors to integrate into their own work. So much so that someone such as myself with little experience within the creation kit would have no issue placing these animation prompts. It greatly expands the potential of level design for mod authors in creating unique environments and even puzzles that utilize these new animations to reach places that normally wouldn't be accessible. Seeing as this mod was released a few months back, the modding community has had ample time to take advantage of this framework and begin implementing it into various locations throughout the game. So what exactly have mod authors done with it thus far? Let's take a deep dive into some of the mods that have come about as a result of EVG Animated Traversal. The first mod we're looking at is EVG Animated Traversal's Skyrim integration patch, a mod that adds over 200 animation markers across the game, most of which are placed within the dungeons of Skyrim and Solstheim. It adds a degree of freshness to dungeons that many of us have likely visited dozens of times, and this mod covers nearly all of the dungeons in the game, with a fair share of markers also added to some of Skyrim's most prominent forts. Despite the sheer number of animation markers added by this mod, all of them are thoughtfully placed. A great example of this is stumbling on an alternate route that sets up an opportunity to sneak behind and dispatch of an enemy. Ultimately, I think this mod is a great place to start when looking to apply this framework throughout the game. But more likely than not, you'll only be visiting each dungeon or fort a singular time throughout a playthrough. So let's take a look at introducing animation markers into places within the game that you'll frequent more often. Maleficus Traversal is a mod that implements shortcuts both in and around Skyrim's 5 major cities. These shortcuts allow the player to traverse cities in a quicker, more interactive way. In Riften, you can now vault over the walls surrounding the market. There are new points of entry on the back of some of Riften's residential properties, as well as a new escape method from the Jarl's quarters by scaling down from the balcony above. Many of the fences and stone walls on the outskirts of Whiterun can be vaulted over, and there's a convenient shortcut that allows for faster entry into the city. Of course, there's a fair share of markers placed within the city as well. In Solitude, you can now traverse the ledges within the alleyways tucked behind the inn and alchemy shop. Down at the docks, you can scale your way up to one of the building's rooftops. Around the exterior of Markarth, there are a plethora of places to vault over and climb. Within the city, there are various points where you can now bypass taking stairs by opting to climb ledges instead. Windhelm now has points within the city where you can squeeze between buildings and climb atop places you normally couldn't reach. For those of you like myself that use JK Skyrim to overhaul their major cities, there is a convenient patch that enables these two mods to work seamlessly together. If you're unfamiliar with JK Skyrim, it's most certainly worth checking out. Speaking of JK Skyrim, the next mod is specifically tailored for it. Caine's Roof Access for JK Skyrim is a mod that aims to create a variety of means to access and navigate the rooftops of Skyrim cities. For now, the mod only makes changes to Whiterun, but the author has plans to implement similar changes in Skyrim's other 4 major cities. Whiterun's rooftops now have multiple access points that utilize EVG's new animations, and there are a series of design elements that make it easier to navigate around and between different rooftops. This consists of a variety of different platforms and ropes that are strung around and between buildings. Many of these elements are courtesy of the mod Deadly Shadows, which the mod author borrowed a bunch of resources from, and is therefore a requirement to use Caine's Roof Access. but Deadly Shadows is interesting enough of a mod that it's worth talking about independently. Deadly Shadows provides alternate routes and passages in and around Skyrim's major cities. These allow you to navigate the city out of the sight of guards and citizens. Whether this is accomplished through an out-of-sight alleyway or along the edges of a rooftop depends on the city. But each of these new routes are uniquely designed to seamlessly fit into the city's existing layout. Ropes, ladders, platforms, and other things have been placed around cities to give access to these new routes. This mod also adds entirely new hidden passages in and out of cities. Therefore, you can now enter and leave Whiterun via the river that runs beneath the drawbridge. In Riften, you could slip out of the city from atop the meadery, or head over the wall behind the Temple of Mara. You can enter and exit Windhelm through a series of tunnel systems that can be accessed from beyond the western side of the city. And in Solitude, you could slip in and out of the city via a series of platforms that run alongside its outer walls. In Markarth, you could slip through the drainage system. All of these are great additions that make it so you can now commit crimes and slip out of cities without anyone noticing. Every city has also been given a small hidden lair that could be used as a base of operation for committing acts of thievery and assassination. Each of the lairs contain a bed, some form of storage, and a few other pieces of utility. I really can't recommend this mod enough, especially for those that enjoy playing a thief or assassin type character. Moving on to more mods that directly utilize the EVG framework, we have EVG Animated Traversal Patch Collection, a mod that adds animation markers to a total of 98 dungeons. This enables you to take a variety of shortcuts within a dungeon and at times even bypass puzzle rooms. Despite covering so many locations, the placement of markers is very intuitive and well thought out. And although this mod makes changes to quite a number of the same places as the integrated patch mod I mentioned earlier, I found that these mods are completely compatible and in my experience work extremely well together. Using these two mods provides ample decision points within a dungeon that have the potential to alter the course you take to reach the end. I found it to be a very refreshing way to escape the linearity that many of Skyrim's dungeons are plagued with. This mod also adds animation markers and shortcuts to a few modded dungeon locations as well. Mods such as Forgotten Dungeons, Dungeons Revisited, and Obscure College of Winterhold to name a few. Before I close out this video, I want to make a brief mention of Poweroftthree's tweaks, an SKSE plugin that implements a collection of bug fixes. As it relates to EVG Animated Traversal, this mod enables you to activate animation markers while in combat. And even if you watch this video in its entirety and still aren't convinced on using Animated Traversal or any of its related mods, you should be using Poweroftthree's tweaks regardless. Let me know what you guys think of EVG Animated Traversal and the mods that have come out of it thus far, and what you'd like to see done with it in the future. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. And as always, thank you for watching.